So we have Rebecca Otto, currently the State Auditor of Minnesota. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. This is my first view of you. Thank you for having me here today, and I'm so happy that all of you are here. Oh my gosh, there's so many friends in the room. It happens as you serve. So I've served for 12 years as the state auditor. I'm Rebecca Otto, and I am running for governor, and I announced in January that I was running. We find ourselves in unprecedented times. We find ourselves in very unprecedented times. And the politics of greed has a stranglehold on the federal level, and it's paralyzed them in terms of getting anything done that we need them to get done for us. We must focus back on the common good. Government is there for the people, not for large corporations. So I am running for governor to make sure that we end the politics of unfettered greed and that we're focusing on the politics of the common good for the people of Minnesota. So I'll tell you a little bit about me so you understand my decision-making process, where I come from. All of us have different frames of references because we've all experienced different things in our lives. I was born in Southern California. Yeah, no, it's not going to be an ugly ad later in the campaign. Telling you here, right now, today. There were four children in my family. And when I was about 6, my father left. So my mom had the job of trying to raise 4 very small children. I was the second oldest. Keep a roof over our head, food on our table, and clothes on our back. I know I wore my cousin Jan's clothes, and they were way too big for me. And my mom made it through, but something I know, a truth that I know through all of that, I don't know how my mom did it, but anyway, that all of us can run into bumps in life, and we can be deeply resilient, and that's what keeps me optimistic and gives me hope about the future. And my mom ended up remarrying when I was 11. We moved to the Chicago area. My mom and my stepdad were both in the musicians union, so I come from a labor family. And I also grew up with beautiful music. Chicago Symphony, Lark Opera of Chicago, so that was my life. And them being in union was very meaningful, and they have their pensions today. They're retired, and thank goodness that they have that. When I was 13, my father back in California passed away. He passed away because he suffered from chemical dependency. And I know firsthand what that can do to a family. And so as your governor, I will work 24/7 to make sure that our fellow Minnesotans, when they need chemical dependency treatment or mental health services, that it's there for them, because the system is not built yet and must build it, because it's a basic to health. When I was 14, my mom in her infinite wisdom sent me to camp. And that camp took me to Minnesota. And that's actually how I found my home. So the camp took me to northern Minnesota, and it was to the Boundary Waters canoe area. And they said, Rebecca, if you can carry that 75-pound Grumman canoe on your shoulders for 100 yards by yourself, you can go on a 10-day canoe trip. You know what? I was like, really? So I wanted to go on that adventure, and I did it, and I got to go on that 10-day trip. I know you probably think it would be a nightmare, but it was a pivotal point in my young life. And I learned through that trip. It was very physical. It was very challenging. But I learned that I needed wild spaces to process my life and to work through problems and to solve things that I was struggling with. And so the Boundary Waters canoe area changes lives every single day. And as your governor, it is not for sale. So I found my home, and I ended up coming to college in Minnesota. I went to McAllister College and got a wonderful education. Afterward, I met my husband. I went on a long run, and it was a good day. We're going to have our 30th anniversary this December, so it's been a long journey together, and we're still together. So I know it's good. Most days. No, I'm just kidding. No, he loves me dearly. Sean Otto, he speaks around the world on the importance of science in public policy, that we steep our policy in evidence. I also believe that, and as governor, I will be steeping my policy in evidence and science, because it's critical for the future of our health and our nation. So where was I? After McAllister, my husband and I decided to start a business, and we, with $500, with a lot of elbow grease, we got our first line of credit from a local business, Abbott Paint and Carpet. They were a family business. We were painting contractors. And because the Abbott family took a chance on a future Otto family, we were able to build that business up to 50 employees. And we later sold it, and it still exists today. And it was meaningful. And then I wanted to get back in a meaningful way. And so I went to the University of Minnesota. I got a Master's of Education. And I taught 7th grade life science in the Mounds View schools for 5 years. Who's laughing? And I always say, if you could teach 195 12 and 13-year-olds, you can do anything, right, Sue? Anybody in the room knows? Yes, I know. So it's a very special age, and I'm still in touch with a lot of the kids. They're in touch with me because I love science and I love teaching, and it's a very difficult job. And the demonization of our teachers must stop because they are the ones that change lives every day. Public education is one of the most important things we do as government. Besides keeping us safe, we educate our young. And it's the way that we make sure we have a strong society, and it's the way we make sure we have a quality of opportunity. And so it's critical. So I taught, I ended up getting involved. I left teaching to be home with our son, who just graduated from Hamlin. I know, it's good. And he's off in the world now trying to make his way. But I got involved in a levy referendum in the Forest Lake schools. We actually got that passed after being defeated many times. I served on school board. I was the top vote getter in every precinct except for one, and it was a pretty conservative area. I later was asked to run for state representative by Mindy Greiling. You remember Mindy? She was so wonderful. And I said to my husband and son, there is no way I'm doing that because I am not a politician. And my husband and my son says to me, but Mom, if you can make it better for the kids, why wouldn't you do it? And I was like, oh my gosh. So it's really why I have worked so hard. It's to make sure we're doing our very best on behalf of our future generation, because it's our job, it's our obligation and our duty to do our very, very best with what we have. And so I served, I later served in the legislature, and it was Michelle Bachman's old state senate district. We won in a special election by 11 points in 2003. We did that. We did that. So I ran on values. That was about long-term financial planning. This no new tax thing was coming up, and I'm like, that's just increasing tuition, increasing property taxes, increasing fees, very regressive. And so that's the work I did as state rep. I was later asked to run for state auditor by former state auditor Ernie Carlson. I know, he was really good. And he really believed in good government. And I went to Mark Dayton, who was also the state auditor, and I said, Mark, I'm thinking of running for state auditor. And he said, Rebecca, he said, you're in Otto, she's in Anderson, and this is Minnesota. And I said, yeah, really? Watch. So, because anyway, so the Otto did beat the Anderson by the largest margin in 112 years against an incumbent state auditor, so I'm just saying. We can do it. It's a shorter name. So I'm the only, it's true, it's good on the lawn sign. That's my husband assured me of when I married him. Although we weren't talking politics back then. But so I'm the only woman Democrat to ever be elected to the statewide office. I'm the only Democrat to ever be re-elected to the statewide office. It's been held by the Republicans. It's a really important office because we ensure good government, accountable, transparent, efficient, effective, responsive government. Because in Minnesota, we want to trust our government. That's a Minnesota value. We like to have government that gets things done, that saves money, that's smart, and so that's how we have to continue. We do not want to go to a place where some would like us, where the politics of greed says that all government workers are bad and we must privatize, that all public pensions are bad, are going to bankrupt government, we've got to get rid of them, that all taxes are bad and they must be slashed, that all protections in place to protect our water and our air and our health are bad and must be repealed. And that is absolute nonsense. That is the politics of greed that simply serves the bottom line of big industry. And it goes against our quality of life and the common good. And so as your governor, I pledge to you that I will name these people, I will call them out, big industry, because we must focus back on what it is we're supposed to be doing for ourselves as a state and solving real world problems. And that's what I will do on your behalf. Thank you. We're good 5 minutes. I'm just about there. And so I have a very serious agenda. Any of you who know me know that I'm very serious about my work. And I've been willing to take very difficult stands to do the right thing on behalf of Minnesotans, even when I'm criticized, even when I'm attacked. I don't care. Because I know what's right, and I have to be able to live with myself at the end of the day. So I have put together an actual agenda, and when I announced in January, rather than launching a speaking tour that everybody does, I launched a listening tour to make sure that I truly understood my fellow Minnesotans' hopes and dreams, as well as their concerns and struggles. We had 36 different conversations statewide, and there were certain themes that ran through no matter what. We don't have equality of opportunity right now. That is just a fundamental truth in our state. And that can be educationally, economically, housing, you name it. There's so many, environmentally, there's so many issues that we must address. And so I've created a statewide vision informed by my listening tour called Renew Minnesota. Renew Minnesota. And there's 3 major parts right now. There's 5 complete parts. I've released 3 parts of my Renew Minnesota vision. The first part is called the Minnesota Powered Plan. It's the greatest economic opportunity we've had in a generation. It can generate between 70,000 and 250,000 good-paying jobs. I know, that just doesn't happen. We don't raise taxes. It's revenue neutral, and we will lead the nation in the clean energy economy. This is going after climate change in a really big, meaningful way, and we should be leading the nation, and we can lower our costs, we can take charge of our energy future, and we can reduce pollutants. There's so many things we can do, improve health outcomes. Minnesota Powered Plan. 2, the Healthy Minnesota Plan. It's a single-payer, universal, publicly financed, guaranteed, affordable, quality healthcare system because lives depend on it and our finances depend on it. What we're doing currently is not financially sustainable. And by getting to a place where all Minnesotans are covered and everyone gets a standard set of benefits, period, end of story, we will unleash the innovators, diversify the economy just like my Minnesota Power Plan does to create that next generation of good-paying jobs, and we will be the place to be in the nation. Because you no longer have your health care is not tied to your job anymore. The next piece of my Renew Minnesota vision, and then I'll wrap it up for questions, is the 1552 plan. 1552. $15 in 5 years. That's minimum wage. We have to do this. We have a lot of our fellow Minnesotans that are making $8 an hour. They're not making enough to make ends meet. And we need dignity in work. And when somebody works 40 hours a week, they should be able to come close to supporting themselves. This isn't going to get them there, but it's going to get them closer. So we phase it in over 5 years. A reporter said to me, what happens if that's not enough? Well, then the legislature can make it more. And then the other piece is the 2. K-12 isn't enough anymore. We must reinvest in our people, and we need to go K-14. So our Minnesotans will get 2 years in the MNSCU system after high school, up to 4 years after high school, tuition-free, period. And they can receive vocational training, they can go to community college, whatever it is they need. We will tell the nation, we invest in our people here, we are open for business with 21st century jobs because we're going to have 21st century skills. I already know there's a bunch of employers in Minnesota who have good paying jobs, can't fill them. Skill gap. Let's invest in our people again. Let's invest in our people. Let's repopulate greater Minnesota. Let's bring the innovators in. And they're going to say, Minnesota's the place to be. So my Renew Minnesota vision, I'm here today. I'm Rebecca Otto to ask for your support. This next election is really, really important. And I have the electoral history. I'm the only person who has the electoral history that can win in 2018. I'm tested and I'm vetted 3 times. I won more rural counties than Pawlenty when he ran. I win more rural counties than Mark Dayton when he runs. I exceeded Governor Dayton's margin of victory by 6 points. No one's ready for the hook? I'm just waiting for you. I exceeded Congressman Nolan's margin of victory by 12 points on the Iron Range in 2014. Right? I'm just saying. I don't brag because it's not polite. I'm factual. factual and evidence-based. And facts are important. Okay, thank you very much.